my name is Lauren Flores. I'm a sophomore in CSF at Menachie High School. As a sophomore, I take an art class and we draw all kinds of things. But enough about me. I know what you really came here for, and that was for me to read you a book. It's called Cinderella, written and illustrated by Jane Ray, and published at Candlewick's Press 2012. Now this book is very special. You want to know why? Okay, I'll tell you. It's a pop-up book. So this is going to be awesome, okay? But since I'm so excited, and I know you are too, I'm going to jump right into it. There was once a young girl whose mother had died when she was a child. She lived with her father and her stepmother, who had 2 daughters. Now the daughters were selfish and lazy and unkind. And because they were so unpleasant, their faces had become swollen and ugly. They made the young girl do all the work in the house. She cooked and cleaned, washed and meddled, fetched and carried. At night, she was so tired, she fell asleep by the kitchen stove. And in the morning, she had ashes and cinders in her hair. Her stepsisters laughed at her and called her Cinderella. Cinderella's father loved her dearly, but he was often away, and she was very, very unhappy about it. Wow. This sure is a pop-up book. There's so many details. I think my favorite detail, though, is this girl's face. It's kind of funny. And those cupcakes make me jealous because I want some. One day, a magnificent ball at the royal palace was announced. All the young girls in the kingdom were invited, as the prince was looking for a wife. "He will surely choose one of my darlings," Cinderella's stepmother said to her daughters, who were beside themselves with excitement. "Cinderella, make us beautiful," they ordered. So Cinderella helped them into dresses of silk and velvet, piled their hair high as feathers and ribbons, and hung glittery jewels around their necks. When she was finished, she turned to her stepmother. "What should I wear to the ball?" she asked. "You? You're not going to the ball," her stepmother said. "Stay in the belong." The sisters shrugged with laughter, and off they went, leaving poor Cinderella all alone. Oh my gosh, look at her, these beautiful dresses. The stepsisters look a little funny to me, like in the last picture. And there's Cinderella helping her. Oh, my favorite part is the cat over here sleeping. That's cute. Do you guys have any pets at home? I have a cat and a dog. Cinderella sat by the fire and swept. Suddenly, an old woman appeared at her side. "Come now," she said. "We can't have this. Dry your eyes. I'm your fairy godmother, and I'm here to help you go to the ball." Cinderella stopped crying, and the old woman smiled. "That's better. Now, run into the garden and fetch me the biggest pumpkin you can find. Also 6 little mice, 4 lizards, and the old gray rat who lives behind the gate." Cinderella did as what she was told. With a wave of her magic wand, the fairy godmother turned the pumpkin into a golden coach. Then she waved her wand again, and Cinderella found that she was wearing a beautiful silk dress and tiny slippers made of glass. Before her eyes, the mice were turned into 6 fine horses. The lizards became footmen, and the rat was transformed into a coachman with gold buttons on his coat. Have a wonderful time, my dear, said the fairy godmother, and dance to your heart's content. But there is one thing you have to remember. You must leave the ball when the clock strikes midnight. Look at Cinderella's dress. I am jealous. Her dress is so pretty. Look at the roses, and look at the godmother's wand, and her carriage. She's riding in that. That is gorgeous. Same color as the pumpkin, but it's beautiful. And little rats. The palace shone with the flickering lights of 1,000 castles. The magnificent ballroom was filled with the sound of music and laughter, the clinking of crystal glasses as a swish and the rustle of fine silk of velvet. When Cinderella walked in, the room fell silent. Everyone was amazed at her beauty and wondered who she was. The guests whispered to one another, but no one recognized her, not even her stepsisters. The prince asked her to dance with him, and she went. And when the first dance was over, he asked her again and again. Cinderella had never felt so happy. Look at the ballroom. There are a lot of people, and there's Cinderella and the prince dancing. Where was my invitation? I want to go to the ball. Cinderella and the prince danced together all evening, blind to everyone else in the room. But suddenly, Cinderella heard the town clock chimmering in the distance. Realizing it was midnight, she let go of the prince's hand and ran as fast as she could out of the palace and through the moonlit garden. As she hurried on to her golden carriage, she stumbled, and one of her tiny glass slippers fell off her foot. The prince called after her, but she couldn't turn back. The fairy godmother's magic lasted until Cinderella was out of the palace gates. Then she found herself back into her rags. The mice and lizards and the old gray cat scurried away, and the pumpkin rolled down the road. This garden is beautiful. Look at these lanterns. And Cinderella's running away, and the prince is over there. And her shoe, that's a cute little glass slipper. Oh, but it's midnight. In the garden, the prince picked up the glass slipper. Oh. Okay. In the garden, the prince picked up the glass slipper and held it to his heart. The next day, he announced that he wanted to marry the slipper's owner. Then he went to the house of every young woman who had been to the ball. At last, he came to Cinderella's house. Her stepmother had rubbed oil and lotion on her daughter's feet to make the slipper fit. But it was no use. The slipper was just too small. "Is there anyone else here?" asked the prince. Shyly, Cinderella stepped forward and curtsied. The prince slid the slipper onto her little foot. It fits perfectly. And even though she was no longer dressed in silk and lace, and there were cinders in her hair instead of flowers and jewels, he recognized the lovely girl he danced with the night before. The prince kneeled at Cinderella's feet and asked her to be his wife. And despite howls of rage from her stepmother and stepsisters, Cinderella smiled happily and answered yes. Oh, look at the stepsister. She is so appalled at this. Look at Cinderella. She looks so happy with her shoe. I'm still going back to their faces. It's really funny. So funny. It's the end of the book. And I know you guys are sad, but it's okay because I think we all had a great time reading Cinderella. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, bye. Ta-ta for now.